I'll do it one more time because now I'm going to record it. Okay, here we go. So I just started the video. We missed a little part of the first part of the class, but that's all right. Here is the D major scale with the basic real rhythm, which is slurring over the downbeat and accenting beat 2 with the down bow. Okay, so here we'll do it one more time. We'll do it one more time slow and one more time fast, so you can watch this video later and try it again. Okay, so here we go. Da 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 da. 1, 2, slowly start up. Oh. 'Closer to tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2. One, two, 1, 2. Cool. All right, so have fun with that. The tips, my number one helpful tips for the real rhythm is tiny, tiny bows. Make it very small, and also make sure you're in that comfortable part of the bow. Am I getting a call on someone calling me on Facebook? Oh, Sandra's calling me. I can't answer that right now because did Sandra get kicked out of the class? 1 second. Go ahead and try that again if that's helpful to you. And let me just see what's. Let me just send her the link again to make sure she can get in. Oopsies. Nope. Can I copy it from there or no? Okay. One moment. Technical difficulties. What we're going to do next is we're going to review the reels. So if you want to get the music out for the reels, that would be the next step of our lovely class today. And let me make sure that, can we close that? And then where can I find the link again? Participants, invite, there it is. Okay, I'm just gonna send this link to make sure Sandra can get into our class. Okay, cool. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to review the reels a little slowly, just for those of us who haven't played them before to have a chance of finding the notes. So we've done 2 reels over the past month. The first one we started with was the Tamlin, and then we did the, okay, cool. Then we did the Sligo Maid. So these are both 2 reels that I just really love playing. There's your pun for the day. I love these 2 reels. They're really traditional Irish reels, and they've just got some really great content in them in terms of rhythms, but also harmonies. They're just really beautiful, beautiful tunes. So we're going to start with Tamlin, which is in the key of D minor. We're going to start it nice and slow, and you'll notice there's 2 bowing patterns we've talked about. The first one we just did in the warm-up. It's this. So there's that first slurring over the downbeat. It's right there for you. Sorry, I played the wrong tune. And there it is over and over again. There's the pattern, okay? So Crystal, this song is in D minor. So what you can do, sweetie, there's actually, I can show you this. You can do this. There's a nice, easy part that goes along with it. And Crystal, it's just this. It's pattern 1 on the G string, okay? So you start on your first finger A, and you're gonna go A, B flat, C, D, and if you can use your 4th finger, go for it, or you can use your open D. So Crystal, I'll show you that. Here it is. Ready? 1, 2. This is for Crystal. Go ahead and play with me, sweetie. I'll show you with my fingers. This is your part. You can play it over and over again with me, and it'll sound great. 1, 2. Start on A. Then. Crystal, like this. Cool. Do you got it? Did you get the notes? Can you give me a thumbs up if you got the notes? Yes, you rock. Okay, here we go. So we're going to try it a little slower, and slower is going to be 102. So here's, that's not that slow, but maybe we should do it one time. I'll go one time really slow so you can really check the notes, and then I'll go a little faster, and then I am going to do it at speed today. So here we go. That's you, Crystal. 3, 4. Ready, go. That's a little closer to speed. That's actually sort of medium tempo. What you might notice is there's this other really cool bowing pattern. So what we talked about in the last couple classes, and I know, Geeta, you were asking about slurs. So were you asking about bowings? Okay, so let me know if you have more questions, but I'll review this. There's basically 2 bowing patterns, and that's it. And then you can kind of improvise off of that, but there's really just 2. The first one is slurring up bow over the downbeat. And that's one we already talked about. And then the other one is this triplet. And that is the only time you're going to slur down bow, when you're coming out of the triplet. So let me say it again, and I'm going to put it in the chat too, so you can really look. These are the 2 Irish bowing patterns. Crystal, sweetie, that part that I showed you, you can play that over and over again while I'm doing the fast part. Does that sound good? You can just play that over and over, so you don't have to do the fast part yet. Eventually, when you can learn the fast part. But for now, sweetie, you can just do that slower part, and it'll sound good the whole time. So here's the 2 slur patterns, if you want to write them down. The first one is slurring up bow over the downbeat. Okay, and it will be, the rhythm of that is it's 3/8 notes. All the time, it's going to be 3/8 notes. And then the second one is slurring down bow out of the triplet. Okay, so those are the 2 bowing patterns that really happen all over the Irish reels. Every single Irish reel that I've learned so far. I'm taking pretty intensive lessons with an Irish fiddle player, and I've been studying with her for about 2 years now. Like all the reels, they have those 2 patterns. So here is that slurring out of the triplet. Let's see, what notes is it on? Right here. Oh good, Amy's back. So here's our nice review. Let me wait for Amy, and I'll explain that one more time. Maybe, there she goes. Okay. I'm just going to wait to say that one more time until Amy's video joins us. And then I'll show you that again, and then I'll do the B part, and it will hopefully be a little bit clearer. Ooh, and let me put this again. Okay, Amy, welcome back. I'm glad that your internet let you join us again. Amy, I was just talking about the 2 most common bowing patterns in the Irish reels. And I just put them in the chat again for you so you can see it and like think about it. The first one is the one we did when we warmed up, and that's slurring over the downbeat. And then the next one I'm talking about is slurring out of the triplet. So you might have encountered this sort of rhythmic pattern where you do that fast. Have you done that before? Yeah, okay, great. So in Irish music, a lot of the time, they'll do this pattern. And they'll slur down bow out of the triplet. So that's what we're going to practice right here, and then we will do the reels again. And again, I did break down the reels with a lot of detail in my other videos. So if this is too fast for you today, go and look at the other videos, and you can kind of work through them with me, and I'm very clear and detailed about it. So right here, that's the little pattern there. And it happens all over the place with different notes. Down, up, down. And it's going to happen like that. And these are like, almost like you're just bouncing the bow a little bit. Like don't give them too much importance. The note after the triplet is actually more important. That's where the accent falls. Okay, so there's that little pattern there. All right, I'm going to go through the B part of the tamlin really slowly so you can kind of just see where those fall. And then I'll do the whole tune a little bit faster again, just so you have something to look at later. Here it is. So let's start with the B part of the triplet. Sorry, B part of the tamlin. I'm mixing all sorts of words up today. Here it is. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, Sandra's here. Okay, so let me do that again. 1, 2. Hi, Sandra. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. We're just actually reviewing the tamlin and the bowing patterns, and then we're going to play it hopefully up to speed. We'll see how it goes. All right, here we go. So here's the B part again. I'm going to review it 2 more times, and then I'm going to play the whole tune. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, there you go. So again, there's another video of me breaking this down. Also on my YouTube channel, I have me playing it. I tried to be exactly what's on the page. It's hard to play it exactly what's on the page. So kind of change it up. But on my YouTube channel, I have a video. I think it's called like tamlin, slow, medium, fast. So I do it at like 3 different speeds, and you can just watch it.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Sandra. I'm so glad you came back.
I know.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do now. And this might be too fast, but I think it'll be really helpful for you to hear it at speed, because you'll start to hear some of the shapes you're going for. So what I'm going to do now, Sandra, would you mind turning off your microphone, and then we can all sort of play it together and we won't get feedback. So
okay.
Let's play along. That would be fantastic. I know Sandra already knows this one, so you might get a lot out of what I'm about to do, so I'm excited. All right, so I've been struggling with these because it's really hard to play them up to tempo, especially when you're alone. So I've been trying, like, okay, how do I get these fast enough? And I was working with the metronome, and it was sort of working, and it was sort of not really working, because it's like, if you're just listening to the click, it's like there's not enough to kind of keep you in the beat. So what I ended up doing, which really worked for me, and I just did this yesterday, so I'm really excited about it. I just recorded myself playing the bodhran. I've been like teaching myself the bodhran off the internet. So I recorded myself playing the bodhran with the metronome, and then I played along with that, and it was really, really helpful. So I'm gonna try to play this for you guys, and then play the reel along with it, and we'll see if it sounds good. If this sounds, let's see. I need to plug in my speaker so you can actually hear it. Hopefully this sounds all right and you don't get a whole lot of feedback. We'll see. If it sounds terrible, please stop me. Okay. You're not okay? Turn the microphone like that. How is that? Is that okay? Yeah? Sweet. Cool. Yeah? Okay, let me know if at any point you can like just like shout at me while I'm playing if it's like you can't hear something. Okay, so I'm gonna play the drum track. This is about 3 minutes long. I'm just gonna play the reel over and over and over again so that you have a chance to kind of jump in and try to play it up to speed. Remember, number one piece of advice is make your bow smaller. Because everybody, and I do it too, it's just like everybody does it. You're just like, oh, I want to play and I want to use all this bow. But remember, you're gonna get more clarity if you use less bow. So especially when you're trying to go fast. So fast means tiny bows. All right, here we go. So I'm just gonna jump into it. You might not catch me on the first try, so just jump in when it kind of works for you. I'm just gonna do it over and over again for like 3 minutes, okay? So this is the tamlin, a bunch of times with the bodhran going. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Maybe we can do it like this. I'm just moving my things around here so I can see it and sort of still see people in case it's working or not. Okay, there we go. Okay. That's about how fast we're gonna go, so let's try it. Okay, that's the goal. That's probably like way too fast at this point because it takes, you know, if you want to get to that speed, which that's like how fast the song was meant to go, right? So if you want to get to that speed, you want to sit there and break it down and work through it and make sure you're not using too much bow. So kind of the magical things that will help you get there are, 1, don't use too much bow. 2, make sure that you are in like, there's like this kind of comfortable spot in the bow. And a lot of people will either drift this way. Hi, Gracie. We just did the Tamlin. I'm sorry you missed it, but I'm so glad that you're here. Gracie, do you have the sheet music for, we had a new one, Sligo Maid. Did you have the chords for the Sligo Maid, Gracie?
The what again?
It's a new reel since we had our little club. So what's the Sligo Maid? I don't know if you ever got those chords. Cool. I'm gonna put it in the chat for you, and you can write them down. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great. So again, I do other videos on YouTube where I break that one down really slowly. Gracie, sweetie, would you turn your microphone off now? Thank you. You rock. Thank you. Okay. So what we're gonna do now, actually, I think what might be good is if we switch and we look at the jig, because the jig's a little slower and that'll kind of calm us down. And then when we need a little more energy in our lives. So let's do the jig. We'll do the jig for like 10, 13 minutes. We'll take a little break and then we'll do some more of the jig. And then we will maybe finish with the Sligo Maid because that one's a little faster and intense. I'm gonna get these chords here for Gracie. And now we're actually gonna look at this jig here. And the jig, Crystal, were you able to find that? You can give me a thumbs up. Were you able to find the sheet music for Timmy Clifford's jig? Yeah? No? It's in the chat. The link is in the chat, sweetie. Okay, so here we go. Maybe this will come through for Gracie, maybe it won't. Oh, that's probably horrible. Gracie, did you see it? It's kind of hard to see, so you might want to click this link instead. If you click the link, you'll see it in a chart, which will be easier than in a straight line. Okay, cool. So we're gonna look a little bit at the jig now, and I'm really, ooh, Lonnie. Yeah, oh yeah, Lonnie, I remember Lonnie. Oh, cool, we've got this huge class today. What is this giant class? This is amazing. I've usually had like 3 or 4 people. Maybe I should do it again in 2 weeks. Okay. Yay, Lonnie, I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Lonnie. I'm so glad you were able to join us today. So Lonnie, we're about to look at this jig here called Timmy Clifford's jig. Let me put it, I have the sheet music here. I just have it for violin. Ooh, so this might not work because I think Lonnie, I don't know. Lonnie, do you read treble clef or do you read tabs? I think Lonnie might be a tab reader, which I did not make tabs for this. So I'm sure they exist somewhere on the internet though. All right, so here's the jig we're about to do. I just put the sheet music in there again. And the reason I wanted to show this jig today was for a couple of reasons. So 1, I love this jig and it's beautiful. 2, it has a lot of opportunities for ornamentation in it. And ornamentation I know is something that everyone like hears and they get very excited about. So I wanted to just walk you all through just a couple of basic ornament concepts and you can take what works for you and leave what doesn't work for you. And then I know we've got Jenna here, who's our lovely rhythm player. And Jenna, I thought you would really appreciate this jig because it has a lot of chord changes, but it can kind of help you hear the shape of it. Some jigs are just like E minor forever and then D forever. And so this one's actually kind of fun, even without a melody going on, it's pretty fun to play. So I thought this would be a really great one for us to do. To start us off with the jig, we're gonna do a lovely G major 2-octave scale, and we're gonna do our jig rhythm, okay? So Crystal, this scale you should know. This is the one we were working on together before school ended. So here we go. You can find your rest position again. Again, we are going to loosen the bow. If you have a really tight bow, it might be hard to go fast. So I like to loosen my bow a little bit, and then I move my bow hold up. Crystal, you can leave your bow hold wherever is comfortable for you, but go ahead and check it and make sure your fingers are nice and round. And then we're going to take a nice deep breath. Roll our shoulders back. That looks good, Crystal. You can actually move your pointer finger up just a little bit. Do you see how there's space right here? Yeah, that's going to be a little better. And can you move your pinky back just a tiny bit so there's another space? And then these middle fingers are more touching. You don't want too much of a space. Nadine, I might say that's too much of a space between your pointer finger and your, yeah. So usually I have these two touching, and I'm up here. And they're kind of, do you see how they're actually touching the bow on like the second part of my finger here. Yeah, like that. More like that. And then here, and then there. I'm touching on the second part of my pointer finger as well. Yeah, that looks really good. And then hopefully the idea is that's pretty close to just like your natural shape of your hand when you shake it out. And then it's pretty comfortable. Yeah. You don't want it to be doing any like weird things because you just want your hand to do its thing. So there we go. Okay. So once our bow hold is more or less comfortable, that's like a lifelong journey of figuring out the bow hold and making it really comfortable. So don't be afraid to adjust things and kind of, you know, figure out like what feels good, because it should all feel good. Like if it doesn't feel good, you're probably doing something wrong, and you can kind of adjust. I found that the best marker for if you're playing the violin right is, does your body feel good? So like take some time to like check in with your body and like kind of understand where your shoulders should sit. You know, a lot of people play with weird things going on. So just take a nice deep breath. Shoulders should be back and down. Head is balanced on top of the spine. You can kind of nod your head, yes. Shake your head, no. Find that balance. Bring your instrument up. It's going to set right there on your collarbone. And then you're supporting it with the left arm. And we're going to play a G major 2-octave scale with a jig rhythm, which is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. We'll try it again so you can all start with me. And what we're doing here is we're going to accent beat 1, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to accent beat 4, 1, 2, 3. So we'll have down and up and down and up. So there's a little bit of a swing to it. Swing me, ready and go. Keep going up. Now we are actually going to do our arpeggio as well, because we use it a lot in this tune. It's going to be great if you really remind yourself what are the notes in the G arpeggio. So it's helpful to say it out loud. You can just say to yourself G, B, D, G, B, D, and then we'll do a G at the top. So it'll be G, B, D, G, B, D. Yeah, can't hit that. All right, that's fine. That's why I have a violin, right? Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, arpeggio. Let's do it now. We'll go a tiny bit slower to give you a chance to think about it. Ready and go. G, B, D, G, B, G. All right, we're going to do the scale 2 more times as a nice little warm-up, and we're going to do the arpeggio right at the end. So we're going to do the scale, and then we'll go right into the arpeggio. And you'll notice that once we start learning this tune, it's like basically just a G major arpeggio. So this will be really great warm-up for us. Here we go. We'll go just a tiny bit faster so we get a little bit of the feel of it, but not too fast. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, ready, and scale. All right, we're gonna do that one more time, and then we're gonna take a little break, and we'll come back and learn the tune, okay? Here we go. Last time for now, we're gonna go just a tiny bit faster. I'll show you my fingers again, just in case that's helping some people. Here we go. Yellow, 1, 2, ready, and go. And there we go, nice little ending. Okay, so you might notice as I'm playing through that, it has a lot of like, it has a lot of shape to it, has a lot of contour. And so that's what really makes the tune speak and sound like you're saying something. And there's really not a lot of mystery to that, actually. It might seem like, oh, that's like, well, how is she doing that? How is she making all those shapes? And it comes down to this pointer finger, okay? And the shape that I'm doing is this. Heavy, the first note is heavy, and then it's lighter. And then it's heavy, and lighter. And then let's see. Gracie, did you write down the chords for Timmy Clifford's jig too? Yes, she did. She's a rock star. All right, at this point, my friends, we've been going for about an hour, so I do want to give you a chance to take a break if you'd like it. I'm just going to drink a little bit of water, and then I will just start playing through the tune slowly so you can hear it. But if you do want to take a break, go to the restroom, this would be a great time to just go to the restroom, get some water, take a tiny brain break, pet your dog a little bit. There you go. Mm-hmm.
So for the strumming, like remember when we were doing reels and once it got fast enough,
Yeah.
I sort of took away the upbeats. When we got fast enough doing the 6/8 time signature, it became sort of, my hand kept doing that 3, but then I was only doing beats 1 and 4, but then also 3 and 6. So like,
Totally. Yeah.
almost feels like a swing.
Yeah, that's really, I felt that as well. So that's awesome. You're able to kind of find that, because then it's like, what is it? Da da. I've had. Ooh, and maybe you can give me some advice. When I first taught this to middle school guitar players, I didn't really know what was going on.
That's valid.
I taught them that rhythm, but I taught them like this, which I think in the long run is probably a mistake. What do you think? I was going, but what should it be? Should it be alternating every time? What do you think?
I was taught with the philosophy that as long as you're making the sounds you want to make, it doesn't really matter how you do it.
So this would be that, right? Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up.
I think that for the sake of being able to play in multiple tempos and being able to transfer that skill to other places, it's better to have your hand moving in the 6/8 time.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I think that's probably better.
But also,
that has kind of some
guitar rules are fake, and you can do whatever you want.
Right, exactly. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, it kind of looks like everybody's back. I am just gonna wash my hands. For some reason, they feel sticky, probably rosin. And I'll get started with the ornaments. All right. So I think I did send a little handout that talks about these ornaments. And, you know, these might apply on guitar. They probably would if you're fancy enough on guitar, but I am not. But what you can do is I've heard of some people doing kind of double ups, da-da-da, da-da-da, and they double the speed and get kind of a double beat going on there, which would probably correspond to this triplet. The thing is, some people call it a triplet, and sometimes it's a triplet, and sometimes it's 2 16th notes and an 8th note, if you care that much to think about that. So we're going to talk about today are these tiny, tiny little beats that go in between that just make everything sound way fancier and cooler. Again, these are really totally optional. I just put the link again, maybe. Did that go through? Yes, it did. And now you have it twice. Okay, there you go. So I think it's a weird look. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, perfect. So yeah, there's a link there if you want to look at it. Gracie, I don't think these would apply on the bass, but you can always try it and see what happens. Because on the bass is usually playing just the biggest beats, right? Which is going to be 1, 2, 1, 2. The guitar player is usually playing the same, mostly the same thing as the bass, but with a little bit more, like you said, those pickup notes to it. And then the fiddle is playing as many tiny little notes as we can possibly cram in there. So we've got these kind of nice layers going on of solid rhythm, something that has a little more movement to it, and then the sparkly things. So you can add as many or as few sparkly things as you want, okay? And what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to kind of explain to you the what's going on in your hand and label some of the different ornaments. So you have kind of a vocabulary of working with yourself on like, okay, I'm going to do this ornament here, and I know what should happen, so that when you hear some of these sounds, I remember like it was like 2 summers ago, and I went to my first fiddle camp, and I listened to this teacher play it. She's my teacher now, and I was like, what? How are you making that sound? I don't even know how you're making that sound. It's so cool, and I just had no idea what she was doing. So I'm very privileged to have been able to study with her and have her break some of this down, and so I'm excited to share it with you. This might be like old news to you, I don't really know, but it was brand new information and really exciting to me, so I'll share with you what I figured out, and you can take what works for you and what doesn't. On this lovely handout that I made for you, I synthesized classical vocabulary and the Irish vocabulary. So you have both, and you can kind of see how they overlap. Because all of this, I mean, like, I'm sure there's similar things in the Quebecois style as well. I know Amy plays some of that. So, and Nadine, I think Nadine does some of the Quebecois stuff too. I'm sure they might have either the same words for this or slightly different words, but it's the same thing that's happening in your hand. So I just put there multiple vocabularies for the same sound, and we can kind of go through it together. And remember, there's endless variations of these, so don't feel like, oh, I can only do these like 4 different ornaments. You can kind of play with it and do whatever you really want, but this is what I've learned. It happens most of the time in the Irish stuff. So if you want to look at that handout, if you're a vocabulary person, you like to read it, I put it there. We're going to start off with, I'm going to pull up actually the sheet music for Timmy Clifford's, and we're going to work through Timmy Clifford's together and use it as kind of a little workshop tune to talk about these ornaments. Here we go. So if you're a sheet music reader, you can look at it and you can see where we're going with this. And if you're not a sheet music reader, I'm going to do it slow enough that you can probably just learn from listening as well, okay? So as I said, I do have videos of me doing this, what I'm about to do. I did it for the reels as well on other videos. So if you want to look at what I'm talking about for the reels and the bowings, there's other videos of that. So here we go. The beginning of Timmy Clifford starts with this nice open G arpeggio, and then we're going to land on the note E. So let's try that together just to kind of get those notes in place. So we just go up the arpeggio, and then after we do a D arpeggio or a G arpeggio, we land on the E. Don't use too much bow on that up bow on the E, because we're going to need it in a second. So make sure it's tiny bows. The first one has the accent. I didn't write the accent, sorry, but they're in the same place the whole time. So it's big, little, tiny. There it is again. Now you'll see it's got this little squiggly line on it. That's where the C chord is, and the note is E. And that squiggly line is, it's called a mordant in classical music, and in And that's the symbol, that's the classical symbol for a mordant, but it's called a half roll. And all that's happening is you're doing like one tiny, it's actually I think called a pull off. It's not a pull off, it's the other way. You're adding a finger on in guitar. I don't know. There's all sorts of words for these same actions. So here's what's happening. And you want it to make it really powerful and really fast. And if you're noticing that's pretty hard, there's some like exercises you can do to like kind of make that easier. But what I'm going to do now is just kind of show you at a medium speed, and we can work through it the best we can. So. The idea is to make it really fast so you don't really hear the different notes. Da da la di la. It's like one sound. Di la. And it happens on the second part of the beat. So it's a quarter note, and so you're going to go. The first one's a little longer. Yeah, am I doing it right? There's so many different ones. Let me check the music again. Yeah. And then there's a D at the end of the slur that's actually in the melody. So without the roll on it, without the half roll, you're gonna have. So that's the rhythm without the ornament. Let me do it again, no ornament. Here it is. Okay. Now let me do it with the ornament. I have to do it a little faster. I can't quite hear it, and then I'll slow it down the best I can. Let me do two more. Ready and go. Ready again. Let me bring my fingers really close to the camera for you. And you can hear it kind of really sounds like a roll, like you're in the middle of the ocean. And you'll notice I like hit it really hard, I go back, and then this is the next note, and then I pull up, and then we're up at the next measure. So let me do it again as slow as I can. I'm going down to the open D because that's the next note. Okay, so that open D is not part of the roll. The open D is the next note in the melody. And then we do the same thing, but it's now, instead of being here on the D string, the next roll, or it's a half roll, excuse me, is on the note B. So you can find your way into measure 3 if you're looking at the sheet music. And in measure 3, there's a note B, and it's got another mordant on it, which is the half roll. So the half roll is just one finger going up usually. And it's usually, if you're on your first, it's usually the, when it's on the first finger, the note you're usually rolling to is the third finger. That's almost always the case. So, because that's like part of the chord. So we're going to the third finger. And the next roll is the exact same thing. It's a half roll. And so I'll do that one a few times. I'm going to start, here would be a good place to start. I'm going to start right on it. That's the note B. It's the second half roll. It's on the third measure. Again, I'm going to the open A because that's the next note. And this one actually is a little bit faster because, actually no, it's not. You're just not playing the part before it. So it's going to do that. So it is a little faster. That's the half roll. That's all that's happening. It's just 1, 3, 1. And then once you get it going fast enough, it will sound like one sound, okay? You'll notice then we get to the next line, and it's the same thing again. So here's what I'll do now. I'll start at the beginning of the A section. I'm going to do the first 6 measures, and then I'm going to stop before we get to those crazy swirly things, okay? Here we go. And this will help. Now my rhythm players that are playing, Gracie and Jenna, you guys can join us and probably actually know where I am instead of those tiny things. Oh, here we go. We're still going to go kind of slow. G and a C and C and a D. G and a C and a D and a G. 1. No, that's probably too fast. Yeah, we'll go a little slower. 1, 2, ready, and go. And then we'll get to that. Okay, let's repeat it 4 more times. 1 and 2 and 4 more times G. Okay, so you might notice something else I'm doing to make the rolls speak. Again, I'm also accenting it with the bow as I do it. And so there's this kind of, and this is the coolest thing ever. So I really love this sound. Sweet, Crystal, thank you for letting me know. Okay, so what we're gonna do to make the rolls, if that's not totally working for you, you might notice, okay, my finger's doing the right thing. This was my problem. I had this problem for like a month, and I couldn't figure out what was happening. So the problem was I was doing the right thing with my fingers, which is just, you know, hammering down the 3rd finger and then lifting it up really fast. Boom, boom, you've got that kind of fast motion there. But you also have to, I'm like lifting, it's not that big, it's really kind of subtle, but I'll show you really big and obnoxious so you can see it. And so I'm like pressing down with these fingers here. I'm putting a little extra weight into the string, just a little bit. I'm also kind of lifting the string up with my arm so that they get more pressure. And so you get this sound that's got a really cool shape to it. It starts quieter and gets louder and then gets a little quieter. So it starts really light, and then I kind of squish everything together and make it louder. So there you go. That's maybe my best explanation of that without getting way too technical about it. So I'll go ahead and go through the tune again, and then we're going to get to the full rolls. So these swirly, swirly things are the full rolls. And they're very cool and kind of hard, and they're going to inspire you to sit there and go crazy in your practice room for like 3 months. So have fun with that. Okay, here we go. We're going to do the first part of the tune. I think I said 4 times, we did 1. So let's do 3 more times, just the first part of the tune. We're going to stop before we get to the full rolls. Here we go. 1 and a 2 and a ready and go. Okay, there we go. Let's do it 2 more times, just like that, same speed. I won't go any faster. 1, 2, same thing, go. Cool? And I kind of like to play with the swing a little bit, and you can kind of change up the swing, but I won't change the steady beat. So here we go. 1 more time, same thing. 1, 2, ready, and go. That's what we're going to look at now, is that horrible thing. And I'm looking at this later, and I realized it starts on the worst roll, which is the 3rd finger roll. The 3rd finger roll is the worst because you have to use your pinky to do the hammering motion. And that hammering motion is just like, it's got to be really powerful. But the nice thing is, you know, it looks like your pinky is kind of weak, but you actually have this big old muscle right here. And so if you have like a stress ball or something, you can like sit there and strengthen that muscle. It's actually really important on your bow hand too, to be using that muscle. And I'm sure on guitar, you probably want, it's the same thing. Yeah, trying to get that 4th finger to be functional. Yeah, we love her, we try. Yeah, on the bass, same thing, it's hard. It's hard to get that 4th finger really strong. But you can kind of just like something I do with my kiddos is that we just do it where there's a little song and we just hammer our fingers, and it just makes your fingers stronger. You do that. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. But Crystal, when you're doing it, make sure it's a circle and you're hammering down like kind of as strong as you can. Yeah, that's great. And that's just going to make your hand stronger. It's going to work all these muscles down here. You don't actually have muscles in your fingers. There you go. But you do have muscles down here. Yeah, isn't that crazy? There's no muscles in your fingers. It's tendons and fascia, which is like connective tissue. I know, it's absolutely mind blowing. So when you're actually doing that, the muscle that's working is here. Yeah. Yeah, I know. There we go. I've been doing a lot of like anatomy reading on hands and like shoulders and stuff. It's really helpful and interesting and kind of gross. So there you go. This is a good exercise when you're sitting watching TV, just like hammer your fingers together. And what you want to hear, you can like put it next to your ear and hear if you can hear your bones hitting together. And that's when you know you're really making it strong. Because if you're kind of just tapping it, you won't really hear anything. You want to hear your bones like hammering together. And then actually while we're on it, I'm going to give you this other very important exercise. So let's do this together. So step one is hammering. And that's just kind of generally strengthening the muscles. But there's another one for the tendons, and this one is actually really important, and it's really important when you're wanting to do the rolls, so I'm glad that we came upon that. So step one is strengthen the muscles down here. Once they're strong though, here is another little anatomy lesson with Miss Rayburn, okay? And actually, Gracie, this would be really good for you as well. So you can, if you want to, you can put your bass down for a second and try this exercise with us. It'll be really good this is good for every string player forever, and it's probably good for all instrumentalists, whatever you play. So here's the other exercise. First, the hammering is for your muscles. Okay, this hammer, hammer, hammer. Here we are, we're strong. It works even better if you have a stress ball when you're like squeezing, or there's like actual like finger strengthener things with like springs on them that my band teacher had, I don't know. Yeah, so those are pretty great too. But you can also just do it without anything and just do that, okay? Now here's the other exercise, and I would recommend doing this like a little bit every day, and you'll be kind of amazed with what you start to learn about your own hands. So this kind of goes to what I was telling Jenna. You've got muscles down here, and then inside your hands you have tendons and other things. But we'll just talk about the tendons. So you might notice the tendons actually run all the way down your arm, and they connect down here in your elbow. So if you close your fingers and you feel your arm while you're doing that, you'll feel them moving, and it's kind of gross. But there they are. Now I want you to put your hand on the back of your arm and keep your circle closed, and then open the circle. And you'll feel the back ones. The back ones are actually for opening the circle. And the front ones are for closing the circle. Yeah, Jenna's like freaking out now. I know, it's crazy. It's like kind of like crazy new information. I know, mind blown. Okay, so let me show you again. Opening the fingers happens back here. Closing the fingers happens in here, in the front. Yeah. So what we're gonna do, and this is how to do rolls and not injure yourself, because you can really easily do rolls or like play the guitar and play the bass and actually hurt yourself. You have to have a balance of flexors and extensors. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right, Sandra. So maybe some people already know this, and this is how I teach this to my kiddos. So what you do is you want to hammer the finger down and then relax. Are these your flexors on the inside, Sandra? Yes? Okay, cool. Sandra knows the real words for it. Yay, okay. So these are your flexors. And then we're going to use our extensors on the back and open the circle and then relax. That's the key point, relaxing in between so you don't use one while the other one's still on and then kind of injure your hand by pulling on your own tendons. Ugh, horrible. So let's try it again. With the first finger, hammer, relax. Lift, relax. Hammer, relax. Lift, relax. Let's try it with the second finger. Hammer, relax, lift, relax. Hammer, relax, lift, relax. Third finger. Hammer, relax, lift, relax. And Chris, remember it's a nice circle, so it's really round like that. Yeah. Hammer, relax, lift, relax. Two more. Hammer, relax, lift, relax. Let's try with the pinky. It's going to feel probably a little more awkward, but it's still possible. Hammer, relax. You use this whole muscle right here. Be aware that you've got this big muscle attached to your pinky, so you can trust your pinky. It works. Lift, relax. Hammer, relax. Lift, relax. Okay. I'd recommend doing that like 5 times with each finger each day, just as a nice warm up. You don't even have to do it like before you're playing the violin. Just do it when you're watching TV or like driving in the car and really bored or whatever. So you can just do that during your day. And it's important that it's round, because then the power of your whole finger is going down into the string. If it's like that, you know, you're working too hard. You know, you're like working against yourself. So you want it to be really circular. And like that. There we go. That will really, really help your technique over here. Because what's happening is that exact thing. You're using your, here we go, I'm going to use the right vocabulary. You're going to use your flexor to bring it down. Is that right? And then your extensor to bring it up. And you don't want to use your flexors and extensors at the same time. Okay, so that's that concept there. Let me know if you have any questions about that. That's really important, especially when you're going to start to do these rolls. That's working, because otherwise you might find you can't do it fast enough because you're using both sides of your hand at the same time. So you're kind of stopping yourself. Okay, so that is usually the main reason people cannot do ornaments, is because they're using their flexors and extensors at the same time. That, at least in my experience. I'm sure there's other reasons, but that's what I usually notice. And then we go through a whole set of exercises, and that's the first one. And then you can do all sorts of stuff on the string with that. You know, you can do the same exercise on the string. Hammer, relax, lift, relax, hammer, relax, lift, relax. Yeah, and that's really, 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 really good for your hands. Okay, with that now, we're going to struggle our way through these rolls together. All right, we're going to spend probably another half an hour on this jig, and then we're going to finish with the Sligo Maid, and we'll try it at speed, okay? Here we go. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I know it's long to do 2 hours, but it's kind of nice to have that long amount of time to get into, you know, stuff that comes up like this is really, really good to talk about. So thank you for that. Sandra, thank you for telling us the right words. That's awesome. Work on dexterity, then agility. Yeah, okay, awesome. See, Sandra knows what's up. Tips of the fingers for strength and precision. Yeah, exactly. So we're right there on the tips of our fingers. And that's why I'm talking about the bones hitting together. You know, you really want it to hit it with the bone, and that's going to be much clearer than like the squishy pad of your finger. Except on the bass. On the bass, you're using the squishy pad. Gracie, do you know? Yeah, Gracie knows. Okay. Work on dexterity and then agility. So dexterity is like where it goes, and agility is speed. Is that right? Cool. I just want that. Those are great words. I'm like absorbing that information. That's really awesome. Okay, sweet. Let's work our way through some of these rolls now. I'll just show you what should happen, and if you find you have problems with it, those exercises can help you get there. So we're going to look at these full rolls now. We're going to look at the worst one first. Actually, no, that's rude. Let's look at the easiest one first, and then we'll go to the harder one. So I'll go through all three. There's a first finger roll, there's a second finger roll, and there's a third finger roll. Okay? The full roll, goes above the note and then below it. In classical vocabulary, it's called a turn. And so what you're doing is you're going to go above the note, below the note, and back to it. So it's da-dee-da-da-da. It's probably good for you to say that. Da-dee-da-da-da. So if the note's here, you're going da-dee-da-da-da. Above the note, then below. And when it goes fast, it'll sound again like one sound, hopefully. That's the idea, is that it sounds like one sound instead of sounding like 4 different sounds. So the way to do that is to get your fingers moving fast enough that it does sort of sound like it's blending together. It still is 4 sounds, but you're using that it's kind of like an illusion that it's one sound. Okay, so before we put it in the nice thing about this jig is it does use all 3 rolls. So you can torture yourself with the 4th finger roll a little bit, or the 3rd finger roll, we'll get there. Let's start off with the 3rd finger roll. Or sorry, the 1st finger roll. We'll walk our way up. So here's the 1st finger roll. And here's the thing, with the 1st finger roll, you're still actually using the 3rd finger above it. Dexterity is the correct fine motor movement. Agility is speed. Oh, awesome. Those are great words. I'm going to keep those and use them in my teaching. Thank you. So those are the notes involved. 1, 3, 1, 0, 1. That's the 1st finger roll, super slow with no emphasis. Ideally, your flexors are relaxing every time in between. And you might be able to feel that, or you might not. You can just think like not too hard. Don't hit it too hard. You want your hand to feel soft. That's kind of the speed of it. Let me do it again. Okay, let's try it with the second finger. It's actually the same thing. We're using the third finger and then going down to the first finger. And again, I'm kind of like pushing into it as I go. Okay, so that's what's happening there. Then we're going to review all this as we go through the tune. It'll make more sense when you can hear it in the melody as well, but we'll just walk through this and so you have an idea of what's happening. The third finger roll, again, it does feel a little harder because you're using the pinky, but it's the same thing. If you're doing the B roll, great question, Geeta. I was confused by this too. So Geeta just asked if you're doing the roll on the first finger, the notes are actually going to be B, D, B, A. You can do it with C sharp, but the D I like it better because my third finger is a little stronger, and also I like the way that it sounds better. You can do it with C sharp instead of D. That's an option. Play with it. Decide which one you like. I am going to do B, D, B, A. That's what I like to do, but you can choose either one and it's not wrong. Yeah. Ba-dee-da-da. You can do it with the second finger if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. It sounds different. So here's the third finger roll. This one you don't really have a choice. You've got to use that fourth finger. And I usually use C sharp. Yeah. Even in this one? Do I use C sharp when we're in the key of G? Good question. I don't know. Yeah. Nope, it's C natural. Yeah. So I'm using C natural. And depending on the key, you could use a C sharp. Thank you, Nadine. Nadine got it faster than I did. Here we go. So there we go. And then when it goes up to speed, it's something like this. Okay? So let's work through the tune now. We'll try our best. If some of them aren't working for you, it's important to not beat yourself up about it. And just notice. Be like, okay, that one's not working for me right now. I probably need to slow down and like practice just getting my fingers to do the right thing. And then, you can work your way up. And my fiddle teacher, I went through this process to get it there. Just playing the notes really slowly, then slurring them together. And then, I feel my fingers are getting tight. I'm probably not doing the right thing. Then I'd stop and I'd do this. And just remind them to relax in between. And there's actually like a whole slew of detailed exercises that can walk you through it. If you're a very detail-oriented person and you want those exercises, I have them typed out. And they walk you through, like in excruciating detail, how to get your fingers to relax in the right spots and very tiny, beautiful steps to get you there. So if you're interested in that, please let me know and I'll send it on Facebook later. And I would love to share those with you. I actually got those from my college professor, but I use them all the time, and I can share them for you. I typed them out myself, so they are my own words. So there we go. All right, so we're gonna now look at the full rolls. They've got this lovely kind of swirly thing, and this is in the A part, the second line, the third measure. It actually starts on the third finger roll, which is kind of evil, and then goes to the first finger roll, which is a little bit easier. So if you can't get the third finger roll now, just try your best and you can work on it later. All right, I'm going to start at the beginning of line 2 and go nice and slow. 1, 2, line 2, go. Nope. Again. Let's do it again. Ready and go. So there's the rhythm of it. It's a quarter note on the note, and then the roll happens in an 1/8 note worth of time. Ooh. Okay, so there you go. That's pretty close. I just realized I was using the B at the bottom of my roll on the 3rd finger, and that's probably laziness. Okay, cool. So let's do this now. I'm going to do the A part all the way through. I'm going to do it probably 2 or 3 times all the way through, and then we'll move on to the B part, which has all sorts of full rolls all over it. Oh, it has the open string roll. We didn't do the open string roll, but it's really easy, so that's okay. All right, so we're going to do the A part. We're going to do it, let's do 2 times slow and 2 times a little faster so our rhythm players can kind of get the feel of it, okay? So Gracie, this will probably be a fun time for you to play along now. We're going to actually play the tune, okay? Thanks for your patience. Here we go. Not too fast, 2 times pretty slow, so we can kind of see what's going on. I'm going to come closer to the camera so you can watch my fingers. 1, 2, ready, and go. And that's where we're going next, okay? Let's try it again a little faster so the rhythm players can kind of get a feel for it. And when we go faster, just like let your brain turn off a little bit and just sink into your instrument. Don't worry about, I've noticed it's so easy to overthink this. Probably one of the worst things you can do for your ornaments is like try to think about them really hard. Just listen and try to feel it and let your fingers kind of go along for the ride. Don't overthink it. Here we go. We'll go that speed. 1, 2, ready, go. This B part a little bit, and I'll just label some of these ornaments for you. We've got the first one, we've got the full roll on the E string there. So that's, again, a turn. If you're a classical music person, it's called a turn. And it's this one because you can't go below your open string. We're just going to go above it twice. So instead of going above and below, we're going to go, that's what's going on there on the open string full roll. And that D is the next note. And then that one should make a lot of sense. I'll do it a couple more times just so if you can practice it with me. Is it down bow? I think it is down bow. Yeah. Again. I'll do 2 more. Again. 1 more for good luck. Cool. So that one's probably, out of all the rolls, that's probably the easiest one because you don't have to go above and below anything, okay? So, and then here's the last type of ornament I want to talk about. So I really wanted to show this tune today because it has 4 ornaments in it, and they are the most commonly used ornaments, okay? So the 4 ornaments are the half roll, And that's right there on the first line. That's the Mordant symbol. So that was the half roll just goes above. So it doesn't go above and below. Half roll just goes above. Now we have the full roll, which looks like this, and that's the swirly turn symbol. The full roll goes above and below, okay? Then in the B part, we have the full roll again. Okay, so maybe it's just 3 ornaments. Yeah, it's just 3 ornaments. The half roll, the full roll, and then the grace note. And so the grace note is almost like the half roll, but the difference is, this is like really nerdy, tiny stuff. Okay, so the difference between the half roll and the grace note, and it actually is called a grace note in, or no, what is it? It's a cut. No, the cut? The cut is the half roll. There's so many words for the same thing because the cut like cuts it in half. So the half roll, it happens in between the notes. So say the notes are B and C. Actually, I'll do B and D. Here's the half roll. You start on the note and then you come back to it. The grace note, you start on this high note and just go down. So that's the grace note. Here's the half roll. So that's really tiny and so picky, but they make different sounds and you might want one of those sounds over the other. And so it's good to kind of start to think like, which one of those do I want to do and why? It's usually because I like how it sounds or I learned it that way from somebody else and that's what they did. So those are probably the most common left hand ornaments. So those are all happening in your left hand. The full roll goes above and below. The half roll just goes above. And the grace note starts above and comes down. So there you go.
Forgive my percussionist brain, but I know grace notes as notes that happen just before the written note.
There's actually
the half rolls not do that. Is then another difference?
So the half roll happens in the middle of the note. So the grace note happens just before the note, or just before the note, and it can happen before the beat or on the beat. And there's kind of, you kind of have to ask, like, is it before or on the beat?
Yeah, there's different styles and all that.
Exactly. In this case, let's see, where is it? In this case, it's on the beat. It doesn't come before the beat. It's right on the beat. So there's where the grace note is. You can sort of hear me sing it. All right, let's try the B part now. I'm just going to do the first line of the B part. I'll repeat that one a few times. Then I'll do the second line, and then we can put it all together. Here we go. Here's the B part, line 1. 1, 2, slowly, and go. Ready, again. Three more times. And my rhythm players are going C and a G and G and a G, C and a G and G and a D. There's a sneaky D chord, which is so fun. Ready and go. All right, one more time for good luck. Ready and B. There we go. All right, now let's try the second line. It's almost the same, but then we're going to come upon these full rolls again on that last measure before the first ending. And instead of having, in the first half, we had a roll on the third finger and then a first finger roll. This one is a different chord, so we're going to roll on the second finger there. We've got the C roll and then a B roll. Okay, here we go. So we're going to start on the last line. 1, 2. So remember that your bow hold is choked up a little bit, and you're in this nice part of the bow where your arm is a square, and you're using tiny, so you're finding this right angle in your elbow. That's going to be the most comfortable spot in the bow. You're not really ever going to activate the shoulder and come down because you're going to go so freaking fast, you won't have time to use the shoulder. So you want to be right here so you can just be using the elbow. So you're trying to be right here so you don't have to work too hard. Out here will also be too hard, so you don't want to be too close to the tip. So you want to you want to find where is that right angle for you. So you're just using the elbow to open and close the bow. Okay, here we go. We'll go slower. This is the last line of Timmy Clifford's. Ready and go. And then it repeats. Let's do the last line again. Ready, last line. Sorry, I did the first one again. Whoa. Did that delete? It deleted a measure. Oh no. Okay, so weird. So, whoa. Okay, so measure 3 of line 3 measure 3 of the last line got deleted. So there's a missing measure, but it's the same as the beginning. So you can look at the B part, that measure that has the E roll in it, there should be another one. Does everyone sort of understand where that should be? Yeah. So if you read the B part again, let me just sing the last line for you. So the last line should go like this. Here's the missing measure. How many measures are missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8. What's happening? Oh, it's not missing. I'm just trying to put all of them together on one line. I am so sorry. I was like, how much of this am I playing? And it didn't look right. Okay, so I'm really meaning to do just the last line, and I did all of the B parts, so nothing's missing. Sorry about that. Here it is, last line. 1, 2, last line 2 more times. There it is. Ready, again. Last time, ready, and go. And then, when you repeat, you're either going to go up the arpeggio, or you're going to go down the arpeggio to start over, or repeat the B part. Okay. Let's try it. I'm going to do the whole tune slowly, and then I'll go medium, and then I'll go fast, and we'll be done with it for today. Okay? So I'm going to go through the tune 3 times all the way through. When we get to the second ending, I will go back to the beginning and do it again a little faster. Okay? Actually, I think I will stop in between to give you a chance to like find the rhythm with me. So we'll start really slow, and then we will play it at the end. We'll play it at speed. Here we go. And that'll be good. 1, 2, ready, beginning. So there's that slowly. Let's try it a little faster. 1, 2, ready, and go. Start over, or you can end right there. Yeah, sweet. So I saw a lot of people keeping up with that, which is very exciting. Awesome. Gracie, is it going okay for you? Do you kind of remember how the bid goes? She says maybe. Shrugs. Let me know if you have any questions. This is pretty fast, but
I just cannot figure out the A part. Like the A part just I can't figure out where it matches up with yours. So
That-
then I'm like, I know when it gets to the end of the B part, when you first go through the B part, and so then I just get back on. So basically, I do like the last B part as like the rest of the time. I'm like, what
We'll do it together, and I'll
is
sing it.
happening?
Here we go, Gracie. This is for you, and actually, everyone could probably play along if you want to. Okay, so Gracie, go ahead and turn your microphone off, sweetie, and you can play along. I'll sing it for you, and I'll do my best to not mess up on the bass. We'll try. G, G, and a C, and yep. I know my strings. D, G. We'll do that. And that's it. Okay, great. Fantastic. Here we go. Da, 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 dee, da, da. 1, 2, ready, and go. G and a C and C and a D. G and a C and a D and a G. G and a C and C and a D and a G. G, D, G. G and a C and C and a D. G and a C and a D and a G. G and a C and C and a D and a G and a G and a D and a G. Okay? Did you follow that, Gracie? I wasn't watching you. Did that help a little bit? Cool. Let's do it again, and then we'll go into the B part. All right? Here we go. 1, 2, again we go. G and a C and C and a D and a G and a C and a D and a G. G and a C and C and a D and a G and a G. D and repeat. Ba la da 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 da. Next part. C and a G and G and a G and a C and a G and G and a D. C and a G and G and a G and a C. G, D and a G. C and a G and G and a G and a C and a G and G and a D. C and a G and G and a G and a C and a G and a D and a G. Woo! Sort of. It sort of happens. There we go. Oh. Gracie, though, I think that'll help you follow it, though, now, yeah? You can kind of feel where the chords go. Okay, good job. Gracie's a rock star. Okay, I'm going to put this bass out of the way here. All right, everybody, we're going to play this through one more time, all the way through. Let's go 2 times through at like a mediumly fast speed. And then I will do the reel again. If you don't want to hear the last reel, I won't be offended if you leave after we do the jig. But we're going to spend 5 minutes on the jig, and then we'll spend 5 minutes. I'm just going to play the reel for you so you have something to listen to. And then if you're interested in learning the reels slowly, I can send you those videos from the other classes. Okay, here we go. Scary. Okay, that's fine. My microphone just fell. That probably sounded horrible to you. I forgot this was going. Very sorry about that. Hopefully that didn't hurt your ears too much. Okay. Beautiful. This is like my tiny, tiny little extra room, and I've probably got like, I think like 10 instruments like crammed into here. We're making it work. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Timmy Clifford's 2 more times all the way through the tune. We're going to go not all the way up to speed. Up to speed would be like 116 again, or 112. Which is, it's not as bad for the jigs because there's less notes in the jigs than the reels, but we still won't go quite that fast. We'll go at a good medium speed so you have a chance of catching the ornaments. There we go. That's a little bit below speed. 1, 2, ready, and go. probably still a little too fast, especially if you just learned the tune today. So I would recommend, if you really are wanting to get yourself up to speed, take it in tiny chunks and repeat it 2 measures at least 5 times. You know, that seems like really like duh advice, but even for myself, I often rush it. I'm like, oh, I want to learn this whole tune right now. And then I find later that I've made mistakes, and then I have to fix my mistakes when I really want to go fast. So I would recommend that when you're learning a new tune, you know, really take time to learn it slowly and well the first time, so that you don't have to break bad habits, because breaking bad habits is the worst. So there's that for you. I really love this tune. I hope you enjoy it. At this point, I'm going to switch to the last, just to review the other reel for those of you that already know it. So it's going to go a little faster. Does anybody have any questions about anything, though, before I do that? You good? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Crystal wants to play for us. Crystal, do you want to play for us? Okay, sweet. I'm so excited. Crystal, can you tell us the name of the tune you're playing? Actually, will you tell us your full name, where you go to school, which is now Forest Grove High School, so you got to tell everybody you're a high schooler. So tell us your name, the instrument you're playing, your school, and the song. Can you do all that stuff? Can you introduce yourself? Okay, go for it. Crystal, I can't hear you for some reason. Is your microphone on or off? Yeah, you might need to plug in your headphones if you're using that. There we go.
I had both muted.
There you go. We can hear you now. All right, go ahead, introduce yourself and then bow and then play for us.
Hi, my name is Christian, and I'm a 9th grader at Forest Grove High School. That's a freshman, and I'm going into the concert orchestra. And hold up, internet connection unstable. Mr. Rayburn, can you
Yep.
hear me?
I can. What's up, sweetie?
Mr. Rayburn,
We
can
can hear you.
you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. You can play for us. We can hear you.
Had a bit of an unstable. I got this certification.
Okay.
All right. Somehow. Okay, I'm just making sure because this thing popped up saying unstable notification.
So, Crystal, sweetie, I'm gonna have to ask
All right. Let me
internet.
reintroduce myself again. That notification distracted me.
Go ahead, Crystal. We can
Hi,
hear you.
my
Go ahead and
name
play.
is Crystal Sherman. I'm a freshman at Forest Grove High School. Winston, I can hear. Yeah, you muted me.
I know, that's because it was hard to hear. Go ahead.
You literally muted me, Mr. Rayburn.
Go ahead and play, Crystal.
Okay. My name is Crystal Sherman. I'm a freshman at Forest Grove High School, and I'll be playing boy and cabbage about 2 strings. And there's a new part that I was taught. Okay. There it is. Okay.
The internet's really laggy. I think you did finish it, though. Good job. Applause for Crystal. There it is. Cool. Ooh, there it goes. job, Crystal. Thank you so much
That's
for
the whole
playing
thing.
for us. Did you learn that? I'm really glad that Miss Walden was able to teach you that new part. That's great. All right, everybody. We've got lovely 3 more minutes left. I'm gonna play the last couple chorus with the drum part. Okay. Nice. Okay. Here we go. So I'm gonna play. I'll play the reel one more time at a medium speed so you can just review.
Did you hear me okay?
We could hear you. Yes, Crystal. The internet was really slow. It was just really slow, but we could hear you. So good job. Thank you for playing. Okay, we're gonna play the reel now at a medium speed, and then we're going to play it at a faster speed with the drum. So you have something to review if you want to play with it.
Yeah.
Here it is.
I'm at my aunt's house and my bedroom doors. Yeah, you beat me again. Your question. Okay. No problem. You requested.
Sorry, I have the beat backwards. There's a medium speed. Again, there's lots of videos of this tune as well on my YouTube at different speeds. And then we'll try to play it with the drum. This is the actual speed. It might be too fast. If it's too fast, really just like listening and trying to sing along. Singing along can be a really helpful way to get you there faster if playing is too fast right now, okay? I haven't tried to play fast, so we'll see how it goes. It's an adventure. Here we go.
Yep. And
Quiet.
5.
So Crystal, sweetie, I need you to turn your microphone. Keep it off, please. Yeah. Here we go. She's got it.
Sometimes with bad connections, her audio gets delayed.
Like loops.
half
Yeah,
a minute.
exactly.
So she probably knows. She was just talking like 30 seconds before.
Right. Crystal, thank you so much. I understand that you're trying to do it. We're gonna play one more song, okay? So keep your microphone off, please, so everybody can hear it. Here we go. Okay, we'll try it. Here we go. Hopefully this is loud enough. I think it will be. Can you guys hear the drums again? You can? Okay. I kind of changed the volume. We're good. Here we go. All right, this is the last thing we'll do today. Thank you so much for joining me and playing along. I really loved having so many people here. This was awesome. So here's the Sligo made up to tempo. Do your best. You can play along or sing along, and I hope you really enjoy it. Here we go. Nope, I wasn't ready. So checking this lovely square position will really help. And here it is. 3rd time's a charm. like that. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, it's like crazy tempo. But I just wanted you to see like where you're headed. So remind yourself all the time to keep the bow as small as you can. And that will really just allow you some freedom when you get faster. I just remember just going crazy trying to get fast enough, and just I was using way too much bow, and I was using awkward slur patterns. So I'll leave you with those pieces of advice. Follow the slur patterns really carefully. I have had my teacher check these, so they're really good. Okay, so the patterns on the sheet music are like really reliable, and so follow those really exactly if you can. And then once you have that memorized, then you can like play with it a little bit. But I would really at first just like, especially if you're finding yourself struggling with some of the bow patterns, learn exactly what's on that page, because it is a really good version. And then of course, free yourself up to do whatever you'd like after that. But this is a good foundation. So with that, follow the slur patterns, keep the bow tiny, and find that spot in your bow where you cannot work too hard, so you can really get yourself fast. So with that, I'll do this because I know Crystal loves it. Thank you for being a great student. Or thank you for being great students.
Thank you for teaching us.
Yes, you're very welcome. So you guys, the class is over, but if you have any questions, I'll stay here a couple minutes. You guys can ask me questions. And Gracie, it's really nice to see you. I hope you're having a good summer. Yeah. She says yes. Good. Thanks for coming, everybody. Class is over. Let me know if you need anything. Thank you so much. I might do one more this summer, but it'll probably be.
Welcome, Ms. Rayburn.
You're welcome, Crystal. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.
Welcome. Bye.
Bye, sweetie.
Thank you, Mikela. This is pretty cool.
Thank you. I hope you had a good time. Thank you so much for coming.
I did. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any questions? Or are you doing pretty well?
No, I'm not familiar with Zoom, so I just wanted to, come in and kind of see what was happening. But I did play. I did play. Thank you for being in the key of G. That was fun.
Of course. I'm so glad. Yeah, that's a really, really nice one. It's kind of easy for everybody to hop in on. So
It was great. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too.
Vita, did I answer all your questions about bowing, or did you have anything else left that pretty much covered it? Your microphone's off, my friend. Yes. Oh, scales. The names of the scales. Yeah, do you want to know which scales we played today?
No. In one of your videos, you played a bunch of scales, and I didn't know what they were. I think they were natural minor and harmonic minor, melodic minor, but when I was playing it with you, I could do it by ear, but I didn't know what I was playing. And I was just wondering if you could tell me what notes, like what scales you were playing.
Yeah, and actually I have all those written down in a line. Let me find them for you. And I have all the names of them with the letters. So I think what I did there was like, there's like 3 classical scale, or like there's a lot of overlap, but there's like, I basically just did the most commonly used scales in all the different styles that I play. Let me
Yes.
Whose notes was this in? This was in, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the student's name who I gave this to because it's in her document. There it is. Okay. Yeah, because I played like, is that the one they're all in A?
Yeah, I think they are. Yep. And I just wanted to know, just so that I could identify the notes and know exactly what I was doing.
Totally. Actually, I think, didn't I in that video? I think actually the names and the notes, they're all in the comment section below that.
I was looking for that, but I don't know if I found that, because I was thinking it didn't make any sense that you didn't have it. So maybe I'll look again. Maybe
Here, I have found the video at least. So let me look at it. And if it's not there, I will totally give it to you. And I actually missed one. Oh, I put 3. Is there more? Is there more in the details? Yeah, they're all there in the bottom. Here they are again.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's great. Here they are. I'll put them in the chat. There we go.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. It's awesome.
And actually, I missed one that's important. Which one did I know? I missed one. There's like a sixth scale that's really common. What is it? Harmonic minor. So the harmonic minor and the melodic minor, those are mostly just classical scales. They're not really.
Right.
Sometimes they are used in fiddle music, but not often. And then the major, of course, and the Celtic major. What was the other one? Do we have
Celtic major? So Celtic major is.
That's actually the Mixolydian.
Okay, so that's just a G natural versus a G sharp, I guess, right? For the Celtic major, for A?
Yes. instead, exactly. So it's A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G.
Right.
I've had a teacher call it the Celtic Major because it's kind of easier to remember than
Yes.
but Mixolydian is the name.
So a Celtic major is just a natural seventh. It's not a sharpened seventh. So it's exactly the major scale except a natural seventh.
And that the last tune we played today, the Sligo Maid,
Yes.
it uses that scale, the Mixolydian A scale.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, you can think about it as being in the key of D,
Yep.
but you're playing an A scale.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. At an A scale. Okay. Thank you so much.
Totally.
Great.
Really good stuff. Those are probably the most common ones. Yeah. Let me know if you ever have any like questions about those, because I can help you just kind of sort through the scales or like spell them out for you.
Oh, thank you so much. No, today I think I want to just slow down the different type of ornaments.
Yeah.
So I speed them up just to make sure that I got the half turn, the full turn, and the grace notes.
Yeah. Like
Exactly the way.
because then you know what you're doing and you can practice it and it's more consistent.
Yep. The one thing I found, and it was just because of me, the tough was, you know how it goes G, B, D, E, D, D, B, that D at the end.
It repeats. Yeah.
That was a little goof up for me because I go da, 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 da.
You want to keep going. Something I do actually is I'll just take my pencil and I'll circle both those notes. And then my eye will catch it better. I totally know. I had that same issue for a while too, actually.
Yeah, because you have to finish that first little section, right? Because da, da, and then go right into the 1, 2, 3, 1.
It's like da 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 da. So it like repeats.
Exactly. That D, that repeat of that really flipped me on that one. So I had to make sure. But you know what? I found that with the ornaments was not to take too long, that it would distort the rhythm of the piece. You know what I mean? Like you only have a very short time to stick it all in because beat 3's around the corner.
Exactly. It's not even part of the rhythm. Like it's part of that. It's like inside another note, you know?
Yes. Yes. Do you have any YouTube video on just ornaments at all?
You know, now I will after today.
Yeah.
I do have, I wonder what I do. YouTube video. I don't know if I do yet, but I should make some. I'm like making so many videos right now, but it's awesome.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think I have any just about ornaments that at least that I have clearly just like breaking it down. But I should make one because this video is really long and I could just make one where I just like do them, you know, just do them like repetitively. What would you like in a video? What do you think would help?
Well, I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said you saw your teacher at the camp and you said, what are those? What are you doing? Like, how are you making those sounds, right? Exactly, and it's funny because when you hear Irish music, Celtic music, you hear such cool little blitz of sounds and you think, what is that? What was that a mordant? Was that a half turn? What exactly was that and how do I make it? And then we had that interesting discussion is it 1 3 1 0 1 or is it 1 2 1 0 1, right? So you wonder where do you go, 3 roll, you know, skip a beat,
or the second one. Yeah, exactly.
or do you go to the second one? I keep getting that one all wonky.
Well, the thing is, like, you can choose, and different fiddle players will do different things because you know, it's a different color. It's a different harmonic that you're going to get out of the third finger versus the second. So you're you know, try them both and see which one you like and see which one sounds better. And if you're listening to somebody, you can like try them both and compare and see if you can tell what they're doing.
Yeah.
You want to know where the like professional recording that I learned this from?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Here it is. I'll give it to you. So the band, my teacher is from this band called Solace.
Yes.
There's the band name. I put it in the chat. It's spelled like that. And then you can just look up Timmy Clifford's.
Okay. That'd be awesome just to hear what it sounds like all together.
And they actually have 2 recordings of this on 2 different albums. And one is a medium speed and one's faster. So you can you know look that up. If you have trouble finding it, like let me know on Facebook and I'll send them directly to you. But you can you can just look it up on YouTube and just look Solace Timmy Clifford's and there's 2 album versions.
Thank you so much.
Totally.
I'm sorry, Mikela, when did you say the next one was going to be? I know you're going to take August off, but
not totally sure yet. I'm like trying to find a date for it because I'm also like I just started rehearsing with a band, so I'm trying to like.
Oh, for sure.
So I do want to do another one though because I got so many people come today, and that was really exciting, and that just like inspires me to do it again. So I might find another day. I might just kind of do a little poll and ask people like what times would work and kind of offer a couple different times.
Yes.
Time is starting to not, the problem is the time. I do want to do it again. So I might find another time. I'll do a poll or something.
Hey, thank you so much. This was just fantastic. Music that I absolutely love. So it's just a gift. Thank you.
Gita, I'm so glad that you could find us and join us. And just great questions and thank you. Yeah.
No, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I just love listening to you play. So it's awesome.
I'm so appreciative of that. I really love that. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.
Ella.
Bye. Nadine, do you have any questions? Just hanging out, saying hi. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad you could join us and that your homework didn't take over your whole day. Yeah. All right. Bye, ladies. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.